We are I guess you say, American craft style brewery. The idea of Seven Sun Brewing was started in
fall of 2010, and I believe this is a long time ago.
So Travis and Colin were talking about this idea of opening a brewery.
They purchased a little test system up at Travis's house. They had it in his basement, a 1-barrel system. They had 30 gallons of beer.
And we started making American Strong Ale there.
A couple weeks later, came back to do another one, hanging out all night, making some beer. And at that point, Jen burst onto the scene, so to speak.
I tell them I sort of elbowed my way in because I was like, you really need me in the mix. Like, sort of sold them on that, and they were like, I think we do.
I think the team is a big part of why we've been successful.
I mean, we all come from a creative place, I think. I have an art degree.
I was cooking professionally.
I had started a bar and restaurant called Bodega. We always really like trying to figure out new and interesting and creative things.
Yeah, Colin can't sit still. There's been moments where I'm content with what we have, but he's like, no, let's do this thing too. And I'm like, oh, fine. And it ends up being one of my favorite things we've done.
This would at least get you somewhere to start.
So April of 2013, we opened up.
And that was great. We had a big party. Everybody came out. It was a lot of fun. And we sold a shocking amount of beer that weekend. The initial idea was 2 beers as flagships, a stout and an American-style strong ale, which at the time on paper made total sense. But as you get going, you realize, no, IPA needs to be a flagship, and something pale and hoppy needs to be a flagship.
I'm an ale person. I'm an IPA person. I know it's not cool anymore to like IPAs, but I don't care. It's what I like.
Our flagship kind of turned into Cumulus Nimbus Pale Ale, which is kind of fun because there's not that many breweries that have a pale ale as a flagship.
We called it Super Pale Ale at the time, the Cumulus Nimbus, because it was 6% alcohol, drier than usual, less caramel malt, more hop forward. So it was really right between pale ale and an IPA. So we'd like what's called Super Pale, so that it doesn't freak out people that don't like IPAs, but it lets people know that this isn't your regular old American pale.
But Cumulus Nimbus was one of the first beers that we opened up with, one of the first beers that we served here at the brewery, and it's still our most popular beer to this day.
You know, it's interesting. It's always like this accordion.
It has been a strange time. The last few years have been very difficult for craft beer.
You're sort of making too much beer, you're not making enough. You either have too many people working or there's not enough people working.
Consumer tastes are always changing and shifting, and everything moves real fast now.
We've always said it's like everybody against Budweiser and Miller. So it's nice, like we love collaborating with other people, but it's this weird competition where you're like, we need that shelf space in Kroger, but we love these people, you know? So it's interesting.
With brewing especially, it's never just, I've made this thing and I send it out into the world and that's the end of it. The newest thing, as of like literally right now, the newest thing is the Hazy Nimbus. We took the Cumulus Nimbus and we translated it into an hazy IPA. I have to pay a lot of attention to that recipe, making sure it's like, we've only done 2 of them so far. Let's keep poking at it, making sure it's just right. Every beer is always on your attention because ultimately you want it to get to the consumer and you want them to enjoy it.
It's always an ongoing process with everything almost, is how can we make this better? How can we make
beer we want to drink and make beer we think other people would enjoy?
When we first started out, we had the idea, hey, do we want to make all these beers as just Seven Sun beers, or do we want to kind of give some their own personality and vibe?
My favorite thing is when someone says, I don't usually like XYZ, but yours is really good. You know, that's like, cool. I cut through a whole bunch of bad experiences for somebody and made them something that they actually enjoyed.
That kept happening organically. The big leap in 2018.
We've opened up Antiques, which was really fun and let us dip our toes in the sour wild world a little bit. And then in May of 21, we got to open up Getaway also. So we now have 3 tap rooms where people can go and try out our beer. And they each have their own distinct personality and vibe.
Especially aesthetics, I love them. You know, I like having a big, strong opinion about how the place looks and feels and sounds and smells. And I think they all sort of go together in that way.
And I like to think that like within the changes of the brewery itself and changes of the beers are positive steps towards just doing things better.
But I think that's just been a function of wanting to be creative with the brand. it seems like there's always something that we're trying out that's new, that's better, that's hopefully like steering us in the right direction and making the beers better and more consistent. I think that's what we kind of excel at. But I think if you're not always trying to improve and always trying to be more efficient, you lose something and you can get complacent.
You use your creative brain for owning a business, for sure.
With new trends, see it coming, understand what it is, and then figure out how to do it the way we want to do it.
It's hard to not forget that you stay the course.
I wouldn't say if you're not growing, you're dying kind of thing, but I think we've always tried to move forward.
I have no idea what the next 10 years think like.
We're never going to make the most beer in the world. We're never going to take over the world, but I think that
Honestly, we're being true to ourselves.